What's up, guys, and welcome to the Rob X22 podcast. I'm with Dr.Bones today. He's replacing Frank from last week. And I'd actually would say, if you ask me, Dr. Bones is a much better Hearthstone player than Frank anyway. No arguments there. He's got the little head shake going on. But we kind of want to sit down and just talk about the brand new Hearthstone expansion. Last week we kind of did a preview the day before the launch, and today we're 1 week in as of today. A couple of things we want to bring up. First thing being is the new feel of the game. I was describing it to Mike Dr. Bones not too long ago, that it's personally, to me, you see a lot more high impact minions, and I don't know if that's because of Cthulhu coming out on the field or the gods who are just swarming the field, but it seems as if most minions, when you look at them, they're coming out with more strength or they're coming out with more defense. So the monsters have gotten bigger. I also don't think that's taken away from aggro because aggro can easily counter on that. And I know Mike for the longest time, Dr. Bones played for the longest time. He played aggro decks. He was a big face hunter. So I don't know what have you seen on that end.
Well, the Zulok is still alive and kicking. There's no doubt about that. I actually just put one together this afternoon. I had to make Sea Giants for it, but
Ooh, good
it
one.
it flows real well. The Zulok, with like the new low cost minions like the what's his name? The crazy, yeah, that guy, Possessed
Areas possessed.
Villager.
Yeah, I started clicking on the wrong ones, and we're gonna be coming back to him anyway. But yeah, he's surprisingly, he doesn't. I mean, I love his look. First off, he's like you
Yeah.
said, he's all out of control. His hands are in the air. Help me, something's going on. Big fan of that. But he's not, and we're gonna come back to them because he's not the only one that I think really has kept Zulok going. The other one on there, which popped up a second by mistake, was
Oh
Darkshire
yeah.
Councilman, who just overall dominates with this deck. Um,
Oh yeah.
you play Possessed Villager on turn one. Turn two, you coin him out, and he's already, then you can crash your 1-1, and boom, he's already at a 2-5, and he's gonna keep going from there. So the other feel beside the high impact is, I have to say, and I love Hearthstone, and I always say it's fun. These cards are so fun to play with. There's so many different variables. I wasn't sure on how I was going to feel about the mix between standard and wild, but it really gives it, all right, here's your competitive play, here's your fun play, go ahead and do what you want. And I've kind of stuck to standard. I know Dr. Bones has been a little more on the wild side. It's funny to say that he's been on the wild side, but um, in terms of not even going to wild and playing some of these cards, it's just fun. Some of the combos that they can do and some of the ways that they synergize together are just very, like we're talking about Possessed Villager and Darkshire Councilman, and another card I'm going to get into in a little bit, who me and him have very different feelings, is Fandral Staghelm. Your choose one cards have both combined effect for both of them. So that includes, if you use Wrath, you get to do 3 damage and then one and draw a card. Ancient of Lore, you draw a card, heal yourself. Ancient of War gains 10 health, 5 stamina. 5 health, 10 attack, and taunt. So he looks like he's not that good, but then when all of a sudden you play Raven Knight with him, boom, you get a minion and a spell right off the bat with him. So we'll come back to him as well. Any other thoughts on the new feel of the game? I mean, I know you've been sticking around the wild side,
Yeah.
where the
I
wild things
mean,
are.
where at, so I was in a spot where I had a legitimate I could have made a legitimate run at legendary if I had the time to put into it. So I stayed on wild just to make sure, see how high I could get. I got up to rank 5.
I thought you said 4.
I got up to rank 5 in all stars. I could
Uh,
I couldn't get the one. I couldn't get the one more win to go over to 4, but I got up to 5, so that was really cool. But as the days progressed, you started seeing more and more. Um, you start seeing more and more old god cards in these decks that you were used to playing. So like, what was I playing? So you start seeing Cthulhu pop up and decks, and then he's got Cthulhu, and then he just threw out Doctor Boom as well. So it definitely it's starting to make that shift. That's when I started losing, is when I started seeing more old god cards in the decks being used, and I was like, I'm just gonna play standard. What's the point? I made it to May, got my level 5 prizes, and now I'm just all standard. Why not? Let's give it a
Uh,
shot.
Wild's fun. I mean, and that's kind of like, and I have a not a disagreement, but there's one friend that whenever he challenges me, he wants to play with a fun deck, but he challenges me in standard mode. So when you challenge me in standard mode, what my first logic, I mean, you could counter me if you don't agree with this, is you're playing me in standards, you're playing me in the competitive mode of the game. If that's what you want, you're going to get a competitive deck 9 out of 10 times. However, and I think that's what the wild mode really is. So that way, if you don't necessarily want to go to that competitive mode, you have the option to switch it out and play with the fun cards and screw around for a little bit and see what works and try and get these, new ridiculous combos that we probably haven't even seen yet that nobody's really figured out how they work together yet. Um,
Yeah.
so, but biggest impact card. Let's talk about that. Card that you think has made the biggest impact.
Um.
And
Oh. Oh, right. So the card that made the biggest impact. It's kind of a cop out answer, but you gotta say it's Cthulhu. It changes everything. When even if you don't play it, I know this is your point, Rob, but I liked it, so I'm gonna go ahead and say
go ahead.
it. Even if you don't play all the synergy cards, which there's a million new synergy cards for, it's almost unfair. I got my Cthulhu in my priest deck up to 34 before I was
Jesus.
able to get it out.
Which is
So
essentially an automatic win once he touches the field.
yep, and I drew him, and the guy quit before I could play it. And I actually just drew Cthulhu right now, so that's pretty rad. I'm gonna go ahead and play it. He's at 18-18, so hopefully 6 of them hits him in the face, and I win.
Out of 18, well, how many minions are on the field?
Yeah, there was 4 minions, and I won.
Yeah, you
I
most
just I,
likely win.
I just looked over and won, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But it's crazy, and even if you don't, it still shoots out 6 damage.
randomly to the opponent. So I mean,
Yeah.
if you're, a lot of times when you get to that 8-9, he plays a big minion or he plays, a big minion on turn 8 or 9, or you maybe weaken it, you can't get it down. Cthulhu on turn 10 kind of finishes it off. Hopefully, I've seen some crazy ones. I had someone, it was great. He dropped Cthulhu on me. He had about 20, almost 20 attack with Cthulhu. But the problem was I don't have it set up, but I had the new Hogger out.
Okay.
Yeah, and every time if the card effect is he's got 6 health, but every time he's damaged, he summons a 2/2 Null with taunt. So Cthulhu hit him, summon the new Null. Spread the damage out, hit the Hogger again, boom, there's another one. So the whole damage, that's clearly the counter to Cthulhu is playing the Hogger. But one of the other reasons why you saw what I said, but one of the other reasons why I feel that he's also a huge impact is everybody gets him. There's not one
Yeah.
play. Well, there probably are a couple, but there's pretty much almost anyone you play on ladder, standard, anyone who's playing the game will most likely have Cthulhu. So it really kind of, if you're a new person and you're kind of playing those low levels ranks, you're at 20, you're at 18, 17, 15, 16, you're around that area. Cthulhu could be in any one of those decks. Whether it's a Cthulhu deck or not, most like everyone has him. You have to worry about him. If this guy's playing joke cards and you're screwing around with him, and guess what? He drops Cthulhu and you don't have an answer for it on that turn, you're in trouble. Granted it's only a 6/6, but it's still the fact that it's still an option for everybody in the game to have as well now. So
And building on top of that, with the whole addition of the whole like just set of death rattle cards, that especially the ones that go along with it, there's a card that straight brings him back.
mm-hmm.
Even if he died, it gets brought back. So he's really just super powerful.
And I didn't think, and I really didn't think he was going to be as strong as he was. I was like, oh, everyone's hyping up Cthulhu. He's, yes, he does a lot of damage. Yes, there are a lot of cards to make him stronger. Okay, but here's the thing is you actually have to play him, and that's going to be your whole turn. Most likely there's going to be some sort of response right after, but it hasn't really happened. Every time I see Cthulhu, it's pretty much a power play for the push to win the game.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think like you said, cop out answer, but I think it's without a doubt it's the card that's made the most difference in the game, and he's a neutral. You also have to look at the other neutral cards, and when you look at the other old god cards, none of them are as effective when it first hits the field as Cthulhu. Yogg could screw you. If you're not running death rattles, it doesn't matter. And then the other one, Yasarj.
Hmm.
He pulls out a random minion, which is great. But if you're not running a deck that's synergized for those random minions, who knows? He may pull out a low cost. You're not going to see a Yasarj in a Zulok deck, but you might see a Cthulhu because Cthulhu. I'm playing these fast minions real quick. You have to keep up. You're trying to keep up. Guess what? Cthulhu. Boom. There goes your field.
Here's
So
extra
what?
6.
Exactly. Without any doubt, it's cop out answer, but the correct answer goes Cthulhu. So then we move to from the biggest impact to the most disappointing card. And you had strong opinion. We each have strong opinions on opposites for this. Said we were bringing it back up. Fandral Staghound. Choose one, get both effects. I like him. He synergizes really well with the deck that I built for. And I don't even run choose one cards. I don't. I run. I shouldn't say I don't run any of them, but I run maybe 4, 5, and him. And the second one of them hits the field with him, it's such a value, such a value power play that it makes it actually hard for the opponent to keep up. Like I said, Raven Idol. I now have a minion and a spell to back me up. I play Ancient of Lore. I draw a card, Ancient of War. Ooh, I have a 10/10 taunt on the field. I personally don't think he's a disappointing card. I was talking with one friend, messaging him back and forth, and he said his favorite card is by far, and this is going to be the next thing, is favorite deck was this Druid card. Made the game fun. Makes Druid fun. And I'm going to get into it. That's going to be my favorite deck for the new expansion is Druid. I never played it. But Mike, you have strong opinions on it, and I'm actually curious to hear it. Dr. Bones, I did it again.
It's fine, man. Um, my whole thing with this is, uh, I don't know. I just feel like
You
you need
played
to
Druid too.
run.
Sorry to interrupt, but you played
Yeah,
Druid too.
I've played Druid, and the cards that are choose one, it does make them a lot stronger if you get both of them. I mean, you get the when you get the 4/4 charge, it becomes a 4/6 charge with taunt. So that's pretty cool. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of. I feel like it's gonna, as the game progresses, it's gonna cause more problems. It's
It
gonna be,
is.
it's kind of clunky to play. It's hard to play around. And I
It
mean,
gets
it's got the
killed.
high, it gets killed, but it has the cool Justicar effect that it goes out there and it stays.
No, it doesn't stay.
Oh, it goes
He
away
only
when it
while he's on the
dies.
field.
Oh yeah, he does die, but he got the 5 health.
As far as I know, if it does, I haven't noticed it yet, but I've been playing them.
No, it does. It dies. I think now it glows when you play him.
Yeah,
So
the cards glow too in your hand when you're doing it. Like if I have it in my hand, choose one card, all of a sudden the card starts glowing.
okay. I mean, maybe I just didn't play enough with it, but that was my whole thing. Is like I played it when I got it. I think I got a golden monkey like right when the expansion came out, and I played it and got that and had like a card or two to play with it. But it just seemed like it was hard to play around.
He is. I mean, most of the time I play him. I mean, and this is again, we're going to talk about favorite deck after. Is I play the Astral Druid, and when I play Cenarius and I get my 2/2 taunts, and he comes out next turn, it's kind of hard to get to him. So he is, and the other reason why I originally didn't think he was going to be good, which is probably the same reason why you're thinking it in the back of your head, is those choose one effects. Yes, they're both good to have together, but most of the time you're putting them in there for a very specific purpose, and that makes it very situational, those choose one cards. So you
Hmm.
don't think about it, you're like, well, I put this card in my deck for this effect because it's situational to get me out of this. Well, now all of a sudden he's giving you both. So I'm a fan. If I understand why some people may think he's disappointing, he looks really good, but once you actually start playing with him, he is hard to keep on the field. I do find myself holding on to him for a while for the right opportunity. So I won't disagree that he's disappointing, but I'm not going to say he's the most disappointing card. So
I just felt like there was a lot of hype.
there is. I mean, well, think about how popular Druid actually is. Druid's one of the most popular decks. Everyone plays it. Really never played Druid up until this expansion, which goes right into the favorite deck. I've been saying it. The Astral Druid that I made is so much fun with him. He's not even the main card in it, but I like the Astral Druid. I like the whole. I find myself ramping up with no problem. Originally you saw a lot of Astral Druid towards the end of or right before the expansion. I think some of the cards in here, such as I can't think, the one who gives you, he costs 4, he gives you an extra mana crystal, or, and again, another choose one, or a 2/2 slime. great for Astral Druid. I only have to run one Darnassus now. It actually is really not hard to get the Astral Communion out early game. You run two of them, you most likely are going to have one. It's can you how fast can you ramp up to it? I mean, and how fun is it when I've done this where I play Sir Murgleton, I get the Warlock power. Innervate, Astral Communion. I have 10 mana now on turn one. I use the Druid, not the Druid, the Warlock power. I draw a card, and all of a sudden I have a 5/10 taunt or a 10/10 on the field on turn one. You can't beat that. On turn one, you're kind of screwed at that point. So without a doubt, favorite deck. I haven't really gotten it too proficient yet. I've been toying with it here and there. It's getting better with the win percentages. We're above 50 now, but we still bounce around that 50 mark at this point. I'm still working on it, but whether it's competitive or not, that's the favorite deck that I've been playing. Warrior was a little bit of a disappointment. I didn't like how my Warrior deck showed up. So, but you were saying, and this is kind of the opposite. Dr. Bones for the first time has been playing Priest, which used to be my main, and I was like, I'm going to make this Priest deck, and he beat me to it. So control Cthulhu, correct?
Yeah.
Control
It's
Cthulhu.
just to give you guys a little perspective as to my Priest ability, like when you look at your ranked wins, I have 74 Warlock, 46 Shaman, 417 Paladin, 32 Mage, and they're all generally in that range, somewhere between 35 and like 60,
But not
70.
Priest.
Not Priest or Hunter or Paladin, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, my Priest has 8.
Level 8.
I got 3 of them today.
I mean, but I'm actually, and we have a group chat, and I was telling the group chat, I go, I'm excited to make a Priest deck. I'm going to happen. The fact that you said, that you beat me, that you not beat me to it, but you did it before me, I'm definitely going to come by and take a look at it and see what you have going on, because I'm curious to see what's working. I want to see how it's played out.
So, it works. I mean, it works really well. I actually crafted, I used my dust from the the pre-order. I made Twin Emperor Veclor.
I
So
could pop him up right now. I did want to bring him up. He's the only reason why I haven't made it yet, because I have to craft him. He is on my craft list. I just haven't gotten to him yet.
I was the first one I made because it looked like fun and I wanted to play it. But dude, it flows really, really well. I told you guys before, I got my Cthulhu up to 34, like pretty quickly. It's got the cards to do it. You can play. I got bronze in there, so that's fun.
And then, and this is definitely going in. I'm popping up right now. Hooded Acolyte. I mean, that's got to be the key.
Oh yeah, I have a golden one. It looks really, really cool. You got to be careful when to play it. It's kind of like the other Druid card we were just talking about.
It's a 4 cost as well.
It's 4 cost. It's a 3/6, but most Priests cards are like that, health and attack wise. But this one, it gives it a lot. It adds a lot to this deck because you hold on to your 2 Holy Novas.
It's got 6 health.
And then you throw that out and you get, it's out there and you get the other one out and, one other guy is out there and then, all 3 of those just got healed. Guess what? Cthulhu just got 1/1 for each of them.
Because, yeah, when you read it, it says whenever a character is healed. So that also includes Circle of Healing.
Yep.
So Circle of Healing, boom, buffs them up. And, that doesn't mention what other effects you might have on the field for your Priest as well, that get triggered when it heals.
And also to answer a question before about the Twin Emperor, it just summons another one of himself.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He, pop him back up real quick. Yeah, he summons. Originally, when you read this, I freaked out when I read this. I went, Taunt, Battle Cry. If your Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, summon another Emperor. Now, right there, it's not specific, and that's one thing we've learned about Hearthstone is the cards are normally very specific, and if it's not specific, it's very open for interpretation on how it works. Emperor. I thought he could summon an Emperor Thorson. It doesn't say summon another Twin Emperor. It says summon another Emperor. And when
Well,
you,
it's called Twin Emperor, so that would
it's
mean
true.
that there's two of them.
But when you think about there's only, I mean, he makes three. There's only two other emperors in the deck, and that's Emperor Cobra and Emperor
Emperor
Thorson.
Thorson.
So I thought it was like, oh, you might get Thorson, you might get the snake, but no, you just get another one of him.
Doomcaller's also really good.
So, and then just I'll hold off. I wanted to bring up Twilight Elder. Pop him on the screen for 2 seconds. Not Twilight Elder. I'm sorry. Who was it? It was Twilight Darkmender. Just the other priest card. Um, really helps the priest. Kind of eliminates the need for not depending on what you're running. If you're running a soul priest or not, really eliminates the need for flash heal.
Yeah.
Kind of because the flash heal is like a oh, all right, 4. I'm gonna play. Who is it? Justicar. Heal myself for 4. Flash heal for another 5, and then do whatever other heal the priest does. You could take flash heal out and put this in. Yes, flash heal costs 1, but you're getting a 6/5 with this, and most likely on turn 5, if not, a turn or two later, your Cthulhu is already at 10 health or 10 attack.
Yeah, that you are able to hit that one rather easily. I found, at least in my little time span playing this, I played maybe 5 games with it real quick
And
before
you're
we
liking it.
started. Oh, I do. It's fun. It flows pretty well. I made something yesterday with it, but then I started toying around with it. Today I made it a little bit better. I like it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it flows really, really well. The synergy through this deck it's ridiculous.
I'm popping Hooded Acolyte just up just because this card also, if you look at it, it's technically replacing the other Acolyte that was removed from the game that the priest had. When it dies, give your minions 3 or give a random minion 3/3.
Yeah,
Kind of replaces that. Similar, he was a 3/4 or 3/3,
yeah,
I
three
think.
four, three
So
four.
you
He only
know,
costs 3 though, I think.
yeah, he costs 3, but one more mana. It's the replacement card. It's not as fast paced, but nonetheless, you're not when you're playing this priest card for Cthulhu or the priest deck for Cthulhu, you're not looking to swarm the field. You're looking to control the field, slow the tempo down, heal yourself, and then all of a sudden, boom, Cthulhu wipes the field and you win. Hopefully, if he doesn't
You
get
could,
killed.
I mean, I don't know. I found you can kind of swarm the field a little bit. You could be a little more pushy with this deck, which is I think is why I'm a little more apt at playing it.
You
Because
can
you can push. You got to be careful because you can get burned pretty quick. I found that out. But with the Entomb and the Cabal Shadow Priest and all those cards to throw out there later in the game, it allows you a lot of flexibility to just throw stuff out
Well,
there.
and that's the other thing with Priest is when you said careful. Yes, you can be aggressive with Priest. You can't be too aggressive. You have to be extremely careful of when you do it and how you do it. Because if you do it too much or too little, or if you do it too much, you're going to expose yourself. You do it too little, you're kind of just going to stall yourself out at the same time. So you have to find that nice balance. One other deck you said you had brought up, and this was because of it was a shaman thing from
Hmm.
below. Costs 1 less for each totem you summon. Now, and this is a big difference. Is your shaman deck a totem deck or is it an evolution deck?
I actually just made an evolution deck this afternoon. I haven't really tried it too
Com-
much yet, but I played it in an overload totem deck. So it has a lot of overload cards, a lot of good spells.
mhm.
It's got the feral spirit, um, ancestral knowledge, things like that to just buff up. Uh, what's his name? Rock? No, no, excuse me. Tunnel Trog.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that was, and you saw a lot of. Is it more aggro or is it more? I mean, because this looks like it's going to be not necessarily an aggro card because when you play a shaman, you really don't an aggro shaman. You don't summon that many totems unless the mana's there. Most of the time,
yeah,
you're just like boom, card, 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 card. Crap, I'm out
yeah.
of cards. Well, guess what? I'm out of mana. Up, ancestral knowledge. I got a couple more cards. Buffed up my
Nah,
overload
it's
minions.
not it's not really face. It's more mid range because it's got some bigger minions in it. I mean, thing from below is that's what costs the most, but
Hmm.
you got to remember you came with the flame the 7/7 costs 4 overload 2.
Right.
was it Flame Wreath Faceless or something weird like that. I just brought it up
I'm
because I
still
couldn't
learning the
remember
names
the
here
name
too.
of it.
I'm still learning the names, so don't
Yeah.
overstress it.
Oh, well,
So
yeah. But dude, that card, that's what kind of pushes that deck forward on turn 4. You got a couple totems, or you got the totem, or what is the totem golem? You got him out there, and then you throw the 7/7 out. That person has a lot of pressure on them to do something now, and then next turn, that's when you throw out the thing from below,
and he costs
and
almost
it
nothing
costs
at this point.
1.
Yeah. So you're getting a 5/5 plus whatever else you want to play, and feel free to overload. And
Yeah.
he could be, and he could, like you said, he synergizes nice with the overloads because he can cost less.
Yep.
So he fits in good. So, just kind of to wrap up here, I kind of just want to. We are one weekend. I kind of want to just point out a couple of cards from each deck, just that have stood out to me as cards that are really good for those specific decks. And I'm going to throw out the neutrals as well. Some of them we've brought up, so we might just bring them up, mention them,
Brush
saying
over
that
it.
this is, and again, these are the cards that I personally felt if that have made some sort of an impact that you will see in the new decks for the most part, or could just be really fun. So the first one I'm going to start off with is we're going to start off with, but actually before we start off with Druid, let's hit all of the old gods. Let's hit the gods. They're the big cards. We'll start off with neutral, starting with the gods. So Cthulhu, Sithun, however you want to say his name, giant. We call him the balloon. Cthulhu, Kaloon, whatever balloon. He looks like a balloon if you look at him. He's got a ball up here and he's got a bunch of stringies going down as well. But we talked about him. Biggest card in the game, biggest game changer. Don't think there's much more really to discuss there. Really powerful card, guys. If you don't have them, you did something wrong because everyone gets them for free.
Hmm.
Um, Second, and we'll be bringing up a lot of the cards. I want to show Nazoth. He's coming in blurry. Summon all your Death Rattle minions this game. I like him. Unfortunately, when you take out Nax, you take out a lot of the really good Death Rattle cards.
No
But
more Sludge Belcher.
yeah, and I haven't tried it yet. One of the decks that's on my to make list is a Death Rattle Hunter. Have to put him in there. I cannot wait to play around with him and play a couple of Death Rattle decks with him. He looks really fun, and I've seen him get played and just like all my minions, kill all my minions, or Death Rattle's trigger, boom, play him, and they're all back. Definitely a powerful card. The other one I'm not too fond of that's kind of popped up here is where'd you go? There he is. Oh, nope, that wasn't him. There he is. Yogg-Saron. Personally, he's a fun card. I don't think he's that great. And the only reason why I don't think he's that great is because he has complete randomness to him they were taking out a lot of the randomness in this game. They added some back in. You can't get rid of it. It's part of the foundation of the game. But I've seen him completely destroy an opponent, and I've seen him completely destroy the person playing with him. I saw one where it was like summon. He filled up his whole field with minions, and he was like about to destroy. And the last card Yogg played was like Twisted Nether, and just wiped everything, including himself. So that whole 10 mana turn where the guy played just was completely went to waste because everything on the field had just died. So Yogg, fun card. I don't think you're going to see him in too much meta because he's too random for people, especially when you're in situations. He might get you out of a situation. If you're lucky, he might put you in a situation. Personally, oh, did I not put him in? I had to have put him in. Where'd you go? I didn't. I'll have to bring him back up. Is Yusarge. How do I not have? I guess he's not on here. That's all right. Yusarge is a 10 cost, and his effect is summon a random minion from your deck at the end of your turn. I'm playing Astral Druid. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'll see if I can get a picture up of him by the end. But let's start. Now we'll go down. We'll just go right down the list here. We'll start with Druid now. Talked about Fandral. Definitely very powerful card. But some people I understand are on edge about him. But if you're looking to have some fun with the Druid deck, nonetheless, because I've had so much fun with my Druid deck, put him in. Put him in. Give him a shot. If you don't like him, take him out. Thoughts? I mean, you said you didn't like him either.
Excuse me, I'm eating chips. But yeah, it's not that I say I don't like him. It's that he's gonna lose power very, very quickly. because you're gonna find it harder and harder
To get his effect to
to
be used.
to get his effect to be used to have it out on there.
Yeah. Next one, other Druid card I want to bring up, Forbidden Ancient. Awesome card. Awesome card, especially late game. You have a couple cards you have to play. Boom, boom, I have control. Oh, I have 5 extra mana. You have a 5/5 minion. I don't have any cards to play this turn beside ping, because you've gotten in those situations where you need to stall or there's nothing going on, so you ping your hero power and hit face. Well, guess what? Ping, drop him. You have an 8/8 on the field. I like him. I don't know if I know you haven't played much Druid yet, but have you seen him been used in any other way other than how I described? I like him a lot. I
I
think
honestly
he's
haven't seen him.
I think he's the best out of all of the and I'm not putting down the other ones. I just think he's the best one that you can get for out of all these. Spend the remaining mana and get this effect. Out of all those classes, I think he does the best with that. So, not Druid, Hunter. I haven't seen much going on with Hunter beside this. On the hunt. Doesn't look like much, but you have to keep in mind when not only does it deal 1 damage to anything on the field and summon a 1/1. That 1/1 is a beast, which goes great with most Hunter decks. Think of Kill Command. I'm going to hit you in the face for this. I'm going to now have a beast on the field. Kill Command, that's another 5 damage, and then I'm going to ping you in the face. That's 8 damage, and we've spent 5 mana.
Also, in certain situations as a hunter, you find yourself one short rather often.
Yeah,
And it could come into play in that situation because a lot of those spell cards you have don't cost that much.
correct. Moving the Mage. To be honest, I've played Mage. I haven't really tried around with the new tempo, but I really haven't seen much. This has been the only card that I've seen mages use that has really hurt me, because I don't have any idea what card they're gonna get, and it gives you 3. If it gives you 3 fireballs, or most likely it won't. Polymorph, fireball, flame strike. Your field's in trouble the next turn. It's it's a random card. I like it, but I really haven't seen much with Mage in terms of new cards.
Yeah.
The other one I saw with Mage that I tried bringing up is this goes in the Cthulhu deck for Mage. I've seen it in every Cthulhu deck. It's pretty good, but it's I don't know. Just Mage. I haven't. I have to play around with it a little more. I personally play Freeze Mage, which has not used really anything. I tried the new minion that freezes everything, or it freezes a random character when you cast a spell. Didn't cost too much. Didn't really do much. Didn't synergize as well as I'd hoped.
Hmm.
Um, what else we got? Let's go. We got a couple of neutrals coming up. He is perfect for Murloc. Really, really gives Murloc an edge. One thing,
Murloc Paladin is a lot of fun.
I mean, and think of it, the one thing Murlocs really were missing, and this was with dragons when you talked prior to the other expansion. Um, there's taunts. The game is also very taunt heavy, I've noticed lately, because of the big
Yes.
minions that are hitting. Black Knight made a comeback. Black Knight's in a lot of decks. I've seen him popping out. But because these big minions are attacking and hitting with taunt, Murlocs are kind of useless now. He changes that with boom, just like that. Now Murlocs have a taunt, and I mean, think about Murloc Shaman. You had the hope you got a taunt to protect your Murlocs. So I like him. Play him with Bronzebeard. Boom, you have 2 taunts on the field. So I think you're seeing. I mean, you've been playing Murloc Paladin lately with him.
Yeah, I play Murloc Paladin with this guy and the guy that changes your hero power. So that's just perfect. Like on turn 4,
Mhm.
you could play all of that and have be really protected and have a decent field.
Mhm. Um, actually this has been a disappointment for me so far. I was hoping to make some decks around it. It's so hard to get running. It's so hard to get out. I got it out the first time I played it and never got it again. So I guess you could throw that on for my disappointing card, but I'm still working on it. I'll get it. I'll get it. Um, couple of Cthulhu cards here too that are coming up. I've seen a lot of him. Deal
I
2
like him.
damage and give 2/2 to Cthulhu. Pretty good. That 2 damage that he deals is really useful. Kind of the main reason I've seen him used around. Gets you out of a lot of situations.
Yeah, he's really, really effective. Flows really well.
And
Just
any deck too. I mean,
yeah.
he works best in Cthulhu's, but he's still dealing 2 damage to something if you need that extra burst.
Yep.
Um. Oh, I like him. Sagat the Slitherer.
Oh yeah,
He,
he's is
he
annoying.
he's annoying as all hell. You can't target him for with anything. The Black Knight is really the only counter to him, or any type of minion that does something to another minion. Other than that, I've gotten him on the field, and he's on the field for at least 2 turns normally. He normally doesn't go down for a minimum 2 turns. Because it takes one turn to maybe beat him up a little bit, and then the second turn, hopefully, to finish him. But control, if he's, I mean, I'm considering him for my control priest just because he's that good. I can't heal him, but he really can stall for me. So,
You flow
um,
well.
who else we got? Spawn in the Zoth. Um, he's in here because the whole idea of Nazoth being in there with the death rattles. Frank made a big deal about him. Unfortunately, couldn't get Frank in here to get his input on whether or not he's been working for him or not.
I
Um,
actually run him. I run two of him.
it's the fact I like him. I don't like the fact he's a death rattle though. I think
Yeah,
it should be
a
give your
battle.
yeah. I think it should be a battle cry. Give your minions 1/1, or give your death rattle minions 1/1.
Yeah, but then give your death rattle minions. No, I think it's good the way it is because it affects everyone. There's
Mm-hmm.
no stipulation except for that minion has to die, and on in a Zulok deck, that's a pretty good card to have out on turn 3.
Um, this is really the only paladin card I saw that I was
Yeah,
interested in.
that card's fun.
It. I mean, you got to keep in mind how many one health minions a paladin actually has beside the actual hero power itself. Murlocs. Throw this in your paladin Murloc. If you haven't done that yet,
I
you're screwing up.
I already have, and it works
I
fantastically.
know. I mean, again, this goes with the Murlocs. They die too quick. They needed the taunt. Well, now not only do they have taunt, they get boosted with divine shields.
But you have to be careful because it if there's a boost out on the field and it goes above 1 health, it doesn't get it.
You have to make sure you're playing it with one house, not being played and then buffed.
Yeah.
Twilight Elder, he popped up on the screen by mistake before. At the end of your turn, give your Cthulhu 1/1 wherever it is. I've seen him in pretty much every Cthulhu deck.
He's I mean, he's kind of
A staple
yeah,
as of right now. Yeah,
he's almost like the new I want to say like for some reason Shredder is popping into my mind
it's because
when I
you're
think
looking
of
at
the
the
way
attack. You're looking at that
yeah,
attack. He's a 3/4 attack.
and just the way you play him, just when you get him out and stuff, you want to get him out as soon as possible. Like if you coin that
Exactly.
out on turn 2, it's awesome.
He's a good early card. Very good early card. We touched on Twin Emperor before. I was disappointed he didn't summon Emperor Thorison for me, but very good priest deck. Very very needed. We talked about Yogg. We talked about Rag last week. I actually haven't seen him used. Have not seen him used.
No,
I've
I mean
seen a couple
kind
of
of
the pros use him. I think Amaz was playing around with him for a little bit, but I didn't see much of an effect with him. Maybe for Paladin, he's really given Paladin because no, if you look at the Paladin cards, there are no big buff Paladin cards. So I mean, I thought he should have been a Priest card. I guess that's why he went Paladin card. So, we talked about Hooded Acolyte. Good Priest card. Replaced the Acolyte that they took out from Nax. Twilight Darkmender. Not bad. You said it kind of replaces Flash Heal and gives you a minion. Not much going on for Rogue. The only one is the legendary Zaro. I've seen him, but here's the thing: I've seen him played, but then I don't see the actual toxin cards get played afterwards. It's like they play him, they get these great cards, but they never use them. So
I
I
mean
don't
it's
think he's been fully figured out on how he synergizes with the deck yet. I think most of the people I've seen playing him are playing like Infinity or some type of auction. What is it? The Auctioneer card where you play a spell, draw a card. Because the toxins he gives you are 1 mana. That's really the only way I've seen him. You have to keep in mind also that there is no Oil Rogue anymore, so he doesn't work with Oil Rogue. So
you play it in wild.
yeah, he would be really good. He'd be a really good wild card. Um, We didn't bring these up. We talked about Shaman Evolve, it being one of the decks. It flows well with Totem decks very nicely because you have to keep in mind this transforms your minions into random minions that cost 1 more, but there's also other cards that do this. This just costs 1. You play, like you said, you drop Thing from Below, and then the next turn or the same turn you play Evolve, just as I put up right there, or Master of Evolution.
Yep.
They synergize really well with each other. I just I haven't seen it work well yet though. I
Uh,
know it's possible. I know it can happen. Everyone that I've played, I haven't had too much of a problem with because they swarm with their totems and then they spend their whole turn transforming it. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's got to go. A lot of times I see it as if you don't have control, I see it as desperation too.
yeah, I did it. I had it in the overload deck. It worked pretty well because I wouldn't use it on a totem.
Hmm.
I
Well,
would use it on something a little bigger, and it would turn into
mhm.
something big. Because like you transform, like you hit with it, then you transform it. It might turn into a charge. You never know. Get another hit out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and the other problem with the evolution decks that I have is you're playing these low minions, so now I'm able to play real minions that can beat your field. So now you're finally going to transform them, and they may be just as equal as my deck, my field, if not, a little worse or a little better. That on top of the whole point of overload is you can't use mana next turn to compensate for the stronger minion you played this turn. So when my feeling is when you upgrade, like think of a totem golem. He costs 2, and he's a 3/4. That's really the equivalent of like a 3 cost or a 4 cost minion anyway. So
Hmm.
you're transforming him into something that you already have on the field, in my opinion. So I'm not a big fan of the evolution decks, but again, one of the things we said earlier, this game has a lot of fun cards in it. The randomness of this card, I mean, and think of you have the legendary who transforms into a new minion in your hand every turn. Darkshire Councilman, talked about him briefly when we talked about the zoo decks. Shadow Beast, they go hand in hand. He is phenomenal. If you're running a zoo deck and he's not in it, you're screwing up. No questions asked there. And then just a couple. The last one really is that Warrior, and I couldn't find much for Warrior either. Nothing really stands out. Only one card. One card have I seen, and it would
Oh, I
be.
know what you're talking. Yeah.
Let's see if you can guess before I pop them up.
Oh, it's the one that with the face is like split in two on the card.
Oh no, no, I do like that card is good. I talked about it last week. Blood Warriors or Blood Brothers, where
Yeah,
yeah,
something like that.
damage minion gain a copy of all your damage minion. Essentially, it's an echoes. But Bloodhoof Brave,
Oh yeah.
he just replaced. He successfully replaced, and look at his specs. He successfully replaced Sledge Belcher. Sludge Belcher. Sledge Belcher had 5 health. He's got 6. Sledge Belcher had 3 attack. He does not have that. But when you kill Sledge Belcher, he pops out with a 1/2, which is essentially almost the same attack anyway, if not a little stronger. He's a 4. Sledge Belcher was a 5. I like him. I think he's a great new stall card. He really kind of takes away when the Warriors are like, what am I going to do? I have to stall out. You're losing Armor Smith, you're losing Sledge Belcher, you're losing cards that help you stall. That's what he's in there for. He's in there to give you that endurance again. And not only does he give you endurance, he's going to go up to 5 attack the next turn. So if you kill him with your 3 cost minion, your 5 cost minion's at risk to die that next turn as well. So I think he's the best warrior card that's come out of this. Again, I haven't seen much in terms of endurance warriors since the expansion. I think a lot of people are kind of afraid to play it in terms of what it lost, but I think you're going to see once people really start to get the hang of how to balance these taunts out, because that's really what it's coming down to. Is it's become a power heavy game where you need taunts to block these now. So I think once we kind of people players start figuring out how to redo the endurance deck, I think you're going to see 2 of him in there. I think he might even. I like the monkey, the 3 cost taunt monkey. I think he's going to override it. So, any final thoughts, Mr. Dr. Bones? Mr. Dr.
Uh,
Bones.
sure. Um, Not really. I mean, I really you pretty much hit spot on with this Bloodhoof Brave. I actually encountered him before I left. Excuse me, when I was playing earlier today, and yeah, he was a pain. So
He's
I
stronger
mean,
than he looks. He's
I
stronger than he looks.
definitely stronger, but I overall, I'm really happy with this new expansion. I was really skeptical at first,
Agreed.
but after putting in a little bit of the time and playing around with some of the cards and looking into it, it's a lot of fun. I like the direction the game's gone in. I'm happy. I mean, I'm relatively new still to the game. I've only been playing,
You've been playing for a year now.
yeah, just about a year since TGT came out. That's when I started like legitimately playing.
You played before. You played during well, you played after, but you played before that expansion though for about a couple months.
Not really.
Not
Not really.
that's just the one you can like me. I got into it shortly after Goblins vs Gnomes, so that's kind of where I started playing. You started playing right before that right before that expansion.
TGT.
So same area.
The
So
the nerfs, that round of nerfs where they took out the patron decks when
exactly.
they Warsong Commander.
Yes, I remember that. That was huge. That was. I mean, but that had to be. Had to be. I wish I was doing the podcast then because I would have loved to have talked about
I'm
how
actually
I
I'm
think it should have
actually
been. They should have changed Patron to a 3-2, and that would have balanced it out again. But you know
eh,
what? They're right because think of Berserker.
I'm
Berserker.
seeing a lot of frothing berserker out there now.
Well, there's that one card. It's the new the new I can't Nax card that was removed. I keep forgetting these card names. The 1/3 with a taunt when he dies. The ghoul when he dies he does 1 damage to everybody. They made a new version of him where he doesn't have taunt, but he's a battle cry to deal 1 damage to everyone. So Patron's not going anywhere anytime soon. Don't doubt it. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Check out. Be sure to like the channel, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and tune in some other time. Take care.
Catch you later.